What is up, everybody? Welcome to Political Sanity, formerly known as... I've changed the name like twice now. This is the third time I've changed the name of this podcast. But the motto of Political Sanity is we're going to try to take an unbiased look at politics and what works and what doesn't work. Again, I don't know shit. I don't know anything, okay? I don't know anything about politics, but I do research. I have a very strong voting stance. I believe everyone should go out and vote for valid reasons, like policies, not for the likeness of the nominee, not for likeness or anything like that, but what is best for you as a person. That's what you should be voting for. What's best for our country? That's what you should vote for. So this is going to be like a 2-part episode, I think. It was going to be a 3-part. We were going to go over the policies of the top presidential candidates, but RFK is making an announcement. He's addressing the nation on Friday, I believe, at like 2 p.m. Eastern. He's going to be. There's speculation that he's going to be dropping out of the race to endorse somebody, and there have been a few. There have been a few speculations on what's going to happen, whether he's going to endorse Trump or whether or not he's going to endorse Harris. But his VP pick, Shanahan, went on a podcast and kind of weighed out the options of what they can do. But he's in, RFK Jr. is in court, or he had court this morning in, I believe it was New York. I want to say New York, but I'm not sure. Basically, Dems are trying to keep him off the ballot, which is insane. I don't know why they want him off so bad. I mean, I like RFK Jr. I do like him. I just don't think it's his time to basically be president yet. But the thing is, he's been denied Secret Service. He's been denied... and this guy literally has nothing to lose at this point. I mean, his family, he goes against the system. His family went against the system. And whether you have views on that or whatever happened with his relatives, that's on you. I have my own opinions about it, and I'm not going to talk about it right now because it's really not that important. So we're going to go over Kamala Harris's political policies. She hasn't named anything yet. She's made a lot of promises. She says she's going to fix a lot of stuff on day one, but it's like, dude, you're in the current administration right now. You do have some power to change things currently. But I don't know if that's even going to happen. So again, I'm not trying to sway your vote. I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. I just want you guys to do some research and... Hang on, let me fix my mic really quick. Do some research, and if you don't have time to do research, you can listen to this. So, I looked up Kamala Harris's political policies. So I'm going to be reading here, and then I'll be stopping and starting. Kamala Harris, as of the latest information available up to August 22nd, 2024, has outlined several policy positions and proposals during her presidential campaign, which reflect a blend of continuing some Biden administration policies with her own stamp on key issues. So she's saying she's going to be going for some things that are similar to what they've been doing now. A lot of it's right there. We know, if you've been living in America for the past 4 years, you know what condition this country is in right now. It's not great. It's not bad. I mean, we're not in like concentration camps or something like that. We're just, it's hard to pay for groceries. It's hard to buy, anything really, because interest rates are up, prices are up, inflation's up. And it's like if you get your information from the news, like I saw a headline the other day that said, not the other day, it was like last week. They said that inflation is down it's either down below 3% or it's down 3% from where it was since like March 2021, which, dude, I saw a graph that said inflation is up 17%. And I don't know if those numbers are accurate. I could look them up, but I'm not going to. So if you guys want to do your own research on that, look, if you go to a store and you try to buy eggs, it's ridiculous how expensive they are. So, economic policies, that we're going to be getting right back into this. Harris has proposed measures aimed at alleviating economic pressures on Americans. So there's a few bullet points below this. Housing is one of them. Plans include tax breaks for home builders to increase housing units up to $25,000 down in down payment aid for first-time home buyers and addressing housing costs. So I'm a first-time homeowner. In my state where I live, they have a program that covers closing costs for first-time homeowners. So that already exists. And it sounds good. Don't get me wrong. It sounds great. $25,000 in down payment aid for first-time homebuyers. That sounds great. And this also covers housing costs. It sounds great, but the question is, where does the money come from? No one really knows. Could be taxpayers. It could just be more printing. I don't know. Child tax credits. Expanding child tax credits with specifics like up to $6,000 for families with new babies. So my wife has a child on the way. My wife and I are expecting another baby. And $6,000 sounds pretty good. But where does it come from? Where does it come from? It comes from taxpayers. It's not free money. It could be our money that we're getting back. But it's like I think taxes is completely illegal. I think taxes are a complete 100% scam. We shouldn't be, alleged, like property tax, for example. We own our property, correct? If you buy property and you own it, you somehow have to pay taxes on that property that you allegedly own. Why? Why is that? Income tax. We work for our hours. We work for our money. Why are they taxing our money? That we work so so hard to get. I mean, I don't know if you guys work hard or not, but I do. I'm getting screwed on every paycheck because of income tax. It's insane. But there's taxes on everything. It's just something that we as a society have come to terms with and be like, this is okay, I guess. It's not okay. It's more money that we could be getting in our pockets. But then we're sending money over for foreign affairs. I'm going off on a tangent, guys. I'm so sorry. We're sending our money over for foreign affairs that we don't even need to be involved in the first place. Ukraine, Israel, Palestine, we don't need to be involved in that. We need to worry about our home base and our country where we're at right now. We have people on the poverty line in this nation. We have people who are going hungry. We have Skid Row. We have Kensington. We have places where it's drug-ridden, fueled by cash money, baby. That's it. They want to keep American citizens down. We have people bursting in through the borders, criminals coming in through the borders, because it was wide open. Went off on a tangent there, guys. Sorry. So, child tax credits. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. It sounds great. We got child tax credits within the last 4 years. We've gotten them. My family has, because we have children that are small. So I get it. It's nice. It's a good little, but it's like they're just trying to keep you at bay. It's like, oh, don't complain about anything. Here's money for you. Because what's going to make someone happy? Money. Food and drug costs. We're getting right back into it. Harris advocates for banning price gouging in the food sector, particularly on meat, and capping prescription drug costs. So she's going to cap the drug costs for prescriptions. Prescriptions are expensive. I get it. Price gouging. Let me look that up, actually. I looked it up the other day. I don't remember the exact definition of it. I believe it has to do with corporations. So price gouging, what the hell? Price gouging is illegal, they say. Okay, they're giving me a bunch of foo-foo-y words. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to load it up right now. I'm trying to get this information on this. So price gouging is a pejorative term used to refer to the practice of increasing the prices of goods, services, or commodities to a level much higher than is considered reasonable or fair by some. This commonly applies to price increases of basic necessities after natural disasters. Usually this event occurs after a demand or supply shock. The term can also be used to refer to profits obtained by practices inconsistent with a competitive free market or to windfall profits. In some jurisdictions of the United States, during civil emergencies, price gouging is a specific crime. Price gouging is considered by some to be exploitative and unethical, and by others to be a simple result of supply and demand. So I think that's coming back to me now. So the example that I saw or read was like during COVID or after COVID. I think there was I don't know if this was true or this was just an example. Like a 2-liter bottle or a 1-liter bottle of Purell hand sanitizer was like something like $250 for 1 liter or 2 liters of that in the middle of a pandemic, because there's huge demand for it. I get that part. I get that there's supply and demand. I understand that. But you're upping the price of something that's not worth that much. I mean, I don't know. Price gouging it does sound illegal. To be able to do something like that, but I don't know. So she's going to ban price gouging in the food sector. So basically like on meat, which, guys, between you and me, if anyone's listening to this, between you and me, faithful listeners, you have to think, the meat that you're getting from the store, like a grocery store, a big box grocery store, is not good meat, okay? If it comes from a humongous chain of like ground beef or pork, you know it's not good for you. It's pumped full of hormones, growth hormones. It's not good. You work at a farm, like people who work at farms and they mass produce meat, like animals, dude, they are pumping them so full of like medication, growth hormones, because they have a deadline to meet. That's what it is. It's all about money. It's about turning a profit over for these corporations. You're not getting natural meat. But then there was an article that I read where I think there's a number of cattle farmers who are starting their own. It's like a 300 million or 300,000. I think it's 300 million. They're like raising that amount of money to start their own meat processing because of the outrageous prices of like mass produced meat right now, which would be nice to get something that's natural and good for you and not pumped full of like crap and garbage. That would be great. So she's going to take a look at price gouging on meat and capping the prescription drug costs. The thing is, if you don't have insurance, if you don't have medical insurance or health insurance, and you're trying to go get prescriptions, you're going to pay out of your ass for that stuff. It costs so much to get, I don't know, Adderall or whatever the big ones are right now. I have no idea. I don't take medication. I have no idea. But when I go to get a checkup and then I go to get a prescription, I end up paying like, I don't know what the percentage is. I haven't really looked at my policy, but it's like $10 for one or $5 or something like that. So I don't know what the original price would be if I didn't have health insurance. It could be insane. It could be a lot. Let's keep going here. So those are her economic policies. Immigration. This is going to be a big one. Harris supports comprehensive immigration reform with an earned pathway to citizenship. Those specifics on this policy are less detailed. Of course, they're less detailed. See, I'm being biased, guys. I'm sorry. I don't like Kamala Harris. I don't like her. I'm just saying that. I just don't like her as a person. And I think she's a liar. But, putting my feelings aside, her specifics on this policy of earned pathway to citizenship are, like, not detailed as much. She also mentioned increasing border security through technology and personnel to combat issues like fentanyl and trafficking. Or fentanyl trafficking. My bad. I thought it was fentanyl and trafficking. So human trafficking is not even on her radar at this point. The problem... Let's just make a note on this one and come back to it. So earned pathway to citizenship. So legal immigration? What are you going to do for the ones that are already here? They're not going to deport them. And a lot of the liberals and the Democrats, they don't think we should do mass deportation, which is cool. I have a very skewed viewpoint when it comes to immigration. I feel like the people who come in to work or come on visas don't necessarily go... Like, there's a lot of them that even before this was a problem. Like, even before this was a humongous invasion of, like, Chinese men, Pakistani men, Indian men coming through, not just Mexicans coming through our border. It was a lot more than that. It was a lot of people from all around the world. Before it was that, I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, I don't ask when I'm with someone and, like, I know that they're not from here. I don't ask them, what's your immigration status? I'm not crazy like that because I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But if you're coming here to work and not coming here to break the law or deal drugs or kill people or rape women or whatever, I think you should be able to stay. I come from a line of... So on my father's side, my dad, I think, was born in Texas. My grandmother was born in Mexico, and so was my grandfather. I believe they came through on visas. And I believe they worked until they had to go back. So this is like in the 60s or 70s, maybe earlier than that. I'm not sure. But my grandma is back in Mexico. She lives there. That's where she lives. She comes through to visit. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But they never, like, came through illegally. You know what I mean? Like, you have a passport. You come through. Like, that's what you do. And you have to go through all the bullshit at the border where the people are, checking all your stuff or asking you a bunch of questions, But that was a normal thing. Like, I come from a line of immigrants. I mean, not a line, but my ancestors are immigrants. But for her to say, like, she's going to tackle this issue, it's like, dude, you're part of the current administration that opened the border in the first place. What are you talking about, Like, come on. In the words of Joe Biden, come on, man. Anyways, she's going to go through immigration, I guess. Trying to stay biased. Unbiased. Trying to stay unbiased. My bad. So, immigration. Cool. Healthcare. Next one. While she has moved away from her previous support for Medicare for all, Harris's campaign focuses on reducing medical debt. That's nice. Which aligns with her broader economic policy of reducing costs for middle and lower income families. Okay. She's going to lower costs. Cool. I think healthcare should be free. I think it should be universal. I guess you could call me a socialist when it comes to that. Medical debt is crazy. I have medical debt. It sucks. It's terrible. I'm paying off my medical debt right now for going in when I had the flu or something stupid like that. So she was Medicare for all, which would have been more of a viable solution, but she's going to reduce the medical debt for middle and lower income families. So with inflation, there is no middle class anymore. You're either rich or you're poor. You're either rich or you're poor. There's no in between. That's just, we're living in, like, truly messed up times right now. Not messed up. It's just, there is no such thing as the middle class anymore, though. It's all gone. It's all lower or you're rich. So that sounds great. Healthcare sounds great. Really hitting the nail on the head with some of her policies. I've never heard her say this, though. I've never heard her say any of this. I don't really watch her. So reproductive rights. This is another one. I'm going to have to keep my opinions tight on this one. So abortion rights have been a significant part of her campaign, emphasizing the importance of reproductive health care, which ties into her broader stance on women's rights and health. Okay. So when they overturned Roe versus Wade, I don't remember what year that was, when they overturned Roe v. Wade, they gave the right back to the states to choose what they're going to do about abortion. The states. They didn't wipe it out. They wiped it out on a federal level. And there's so many holes in that Roe v. Wade story. Like that case. There's so many holes in it. The woman who was like the poster child for this, I think she even ended up giving birth to that baby. And then she gave it up for adoption. She was a pawn in this political scheme. I personally don't believe in abortion. I don't think it's right. I still think it's a baby. I don't think you should be able to kill an innocent baby. I think it's also a way for people to skirt responsibility for bad choices that they've made, like getting pregnant. Keep your legs closed. Maybe we should do mandatory hysterectomies and vasectomies if you don't show responsibility by the age of 13. Just an idea, it's just a joke, guys. I don't think that is a viable option. You can't look at someone and say, well, you're not responsible yet because you're 13 and we're just going to give you a vasectomy or a hysterectomy. No, insane. Maybe, I don't know. Good grief. So reproductive rights, they gave the rights back to the states. And that's something that Trump said he was going to do when he was debating Biden this last time. He said, we gave the rights back to the states. The state should be the one that decides that. You live in a blue state, it's legal. You live in a red state, it's not legal. Maybe there's a moral gray area somewhere there. I live in a blue state. It's completely 100% legal here. Okay? It's legal. Abortion is legal in my state. I don't know how long they do it. I haven't looked into the policy. I'm not one to protest it because whatever. There's going to be shit that goes on in the world. It's just like gun rights, okay? Abortion is like gun rights. And a lot of the people who are for abortion, like women or men, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, they were like, oh, well, abortion's illegal, but it's still going to happen anyway. Okay, that's like you outlawing guns. People are still going to be able to access them and buy them. It's not going to change. Felons aren't allowed to have guns. A lot of them carry guns, I'm sure. You're not allowed to possess one, but they have them. So it's a good outweighs the bad type of thing. I mean, it's going to happen regardless. It shouldn't be a federally legal thing. Leave it up to the states. And if you live in a red state where it's not legal and you want to get an abortion, move to a blue state. Or go to a back alley. Who cares? It doesn't matter. But you're going to end up regretting it. I'm getting more into it. I'm sorry. So, reproductive rights. We talked about that. Climate change. Oh boy. Okay. Although she has dialed back from a complete ban on fracking, her policies still aim at combating climate change, though specifics on how she plans to achieve this without previous measures like fracking bans are less clear. So she's not clearly giving answers on this. I think climate changes. It just does, okay? The glaciers are melting. That's been going on forever. I watched that Al Gore documentary, Inconvenient Truth. It was boring. I had to watch it for science class. It was boring. Al Gore was kind of funny when he was talking. I mean, he brought up some good points, but climate changes. That's what happens. Now, when it comes to people when they mandate electric vehicles, I think that's absolute horse shit. You shouldn't be able to mandate that. It costs more to make, it takes more energy to create a battery for an electric car than it does to, the thing is, graphite is in one of those batteries for the electric cars, I believe. And graphite is a fossil fuel. So you're still using fossil fuels regardless. Why don't we just use what we've been using forever? Give a fuck about the, greenhouse gases and all that crap. Who cares about that? It doesn't matter. They're saying that we need to kill all the cows because they're producing too much methane in the air and yada yada, this and that. It's all talking points. It's a way for them to tax us even more. That brings me back to it was a post I saw or something. It was like a picture, and it went through like the last 5 decades of what the craze was, the scare, like the Cold War. I don't remember any of the other ones, but they said it, and then the last one they came up with this decade was climate change. It's a way for them to keep taxing us and scaring us into trying to fix things and make sure, nothing bad ever happens, even though we're on the brink of World War III right now. Again, I'm going off on a tangent. So that's climate change. Next point is criminal justice and police reform. While there have been claims from critics about her stance on defunding the police, her actual policy positions as of recent updates suggest a more nuanced approach to police reform rather than outright defunding. So that's good. She wants to reform police officers. I get that. However, the guy that she's running with, Tim Walz, let Minneapolis burn to the ground in 2020 after the George Floyd death. I'll call it that, when he died. I don't know. Am I staying unbiased on this? I don't think I am. I think I'm being quite biased on this. But the guy she's running with right now is not for police reform. He's about defunding it and letting criminals get away with whatever they want. They burned the 3rd precinct in Minneapolis to the ground. And they have a tough time keeping officers on now in Minneapolis. So, I mean, it's good she's not going to outright defund the police, right? I don't know what police reform looks like. I don't know what that looks like. Reformation for police officers. I don't know. Maybe it's different. Separate training. Maybe it's just letting people out of jail after they commit a crime. I don't know. So the next one is foreign policy. Harris has expressed views on international issues, notably on Israel's conflict with Hamas, advocating for a balanced approach that supports Israel's right to defend itself while also addressing the humanitarian impact on Gaza. Okay, I can get on board with this one, all right? Israel has the right to defend itself. I don't think they need America's help. They can handle stuff themselves. They've been doing it for the last 80 years. They can handle it. We don't need to get in the middle of it. Palestine, I don't know. They've let Hamas govern them for the last 18 years, maybe more. And it's like, okay, you're being run by a terrorist organization. You expect a different outcome. Why? They're going to try to create war again. But I don't live there. I live in America. It doesn't matter to me. Foreign policy, I think it doesn't even need to be on anyone's ticket. Why do we have to get involved? I'm sure we have to address, but we've given so much money to these countries now. It's like now we're in the thick of it. We have to get involved at some point. And it's like we're not even looking at like us, like 30-year-olds. We're looking at like 20-year-olds, maybe our kids' age when they get older. If they're going to draft them, screw that. Foreign policy. That is foreign policy. Voting rights. This is, I believe, this is her last one. She supports passing legislation like the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Rights and Advancement Act aiming to strengthen voting rights. Okay, let's look that stuff up. Freedom to Vote Act was the first one. It's a bill from 2024. Okay, I don't want to read any biased. Okay, so I'm going to look it up from congress.gov. Freedom to Vote Act, 117th Congress. Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota. Let's see. This bill addresses voter registration and voting access, election integrity and security, redistricting, and campaign finance. This print is so small. Specifically, the bill expands voter registration, e.g. automatic and same-day registration, and voting access, vote by mail, and early voting. It also limits removing voters from voter rolls. Next, the bill establishes Election Day as a federal holiday. Okay, that's it. Why does it have to be a federal holiday? Just work. Just go to work on Election Day. They have to let you off legally to go to vote. The bill declares that the right of a U.S. citizen to vote in any election for federal office shall not be denied or abridged because that individual has been convicted of a criminal offense unless, at the time of the election, such individual is serving a felony sentence. So, it's giving... So if you've been to prison or if you've been to jail or if you're a felon, you have the right to vote with this bill. Because before that, felons couldn't vote. And it's not fair. I don't think that's fair at all. The bill establishes certain federal criminal offenses related to voting. In particular, the bill establishes a new criminal offense for conduct or attempted conduct to corruptly hinder, interfere with, or prevent another person from registering to vote or helping someone register to vote. So you need to let people register to vote. Additionally, the bill sets forth provisions related to election security, including by requiring states to conduct post-election audits for federal elections. Okay, so they have to investigate and count all that stuff. The bill outlines criteria for congressional redistricting and generally prohibits mid-decade redistricting. I don't know what that means. I don't know what redistricting is. It's a tongue twister. The bill addresses campaign finance, including by expanding the prohibition on campaign spending by foreign nationals. Like I said, guys, I don't know shit about anything. I'm just reading. Requiring additional disclosure of campaign-related fundraising and spending, requiring additional disclaimers regarding certain political advertising, and establishing an alternative campaign funding system for certain federal offices. So basically, you can't... Oh, let me see if I get this right here. Campaign spending by foreign nationals. So you can't have, like, other countries fund your campaign? Is that what it's saying? Requiring any disclosure of campaign-related fundraising and spending. So you have to disclose it. If you're running and you have to disclose like all your financing, I think that's what that's saying. That's all it says. I don't see how that ties into, her. So the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Let's see that. Let's look that up. What is it? John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Oh, Advancement Act. Sorry, I did not type that in. I didn't type in the word advancement. Wow. So, if you're listening to this, like, what do you guys think? Like, what's your stance? Let me know in the comments. What's your stance on this? Maybe you're going to vote. Maybe you're not going to vote. Maybe you'll vote red. Maybe you'll vote blue. Maybe you'll vote for the third candidate. I don't know. Oh my gosh, I just need a layout of what this thing is. I don't know. I don't want to read another Congress bill, but I might have to. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, obviously I can't. Okay, so this is on congress.gov. You guys can look this one up too. I'm finding all this on congress.gov. They legally have to put this online. This was introduced to the House on January 1st, or January 6th, 2023. This is the John R. Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act of 2023. This bill establishes new criteria for determining which states and political subdivisions must obtain pre-clearance before changes to voting practices may take effect. Pre-clearance is the process of receiving pre-approval from the Department of Justice or the U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia before making legal changes that would affect voting rights. Okay, so this is, again, states have to run this through D.C. and the DOJ to actually get this going. They'll either accept it or they'll deny it. They'll either approve it or deny it. A state and all of its political subdivisions shall be subject to pre-clearance of voting practice changes for a 10-year period if during the previous 25 years 15 or more voting rights violations occurred in the state. I don't know what a voting rights violation would be. Oh, it's like if you're denying people the right to vote or whatever. I don't know what that entails or what an example of that would be. 10 or more violations occurred, at least one of which was committed by the state itself, or 3 or more violations occurred and the state administers the election. A political subdivision as a separate unit shall also be subject to pre-clearance for a 10-year period if 3 or more voting rights violations occurred there during the previous 25 years. They already said that. States and political subdivisions that meet certain thresholds regarding minority groups must pre-clear covered practices before implementation such as redistricting. There's that word again. Don't know what it means. States and political subdivisions must notify the public of changes to voting practices. So they need to let their citizens know that this is what's changing. They legally have to do that. They can't just this changed and we're not going to tell you guys about it. I find it hard to believe that government's doing that, or that they're the ones that are letting people know, letting the public know. Yeah, right. The bill authorizes Department of Justice to require states or political subdivisions to provide certain documents or answers to questions for enforcing voting rights. The bill outlines factors courts must consider when hearing challenges to voting practices, such as the extent of any history of official voting discrimination in the state or political subdivision. So, I didn't see anything about voter ID. So this is a footnote on this website that I'm getting this information from for policies for Harris. This is an opinion. Excuse me. Kamala Harris's campaign, therefore, seems to be walking a line between progressive policies and pragmatic governance, aiming to appeal to a broad Democratic base while also trying to address criticisms of being too far left. However, for detailed policy specifics, especially on funding mechanisms or implementation strategies, her campaign has been somewhat less forthcoming, focusing more on the vision and less on the mechanics. So she's not diving into it head first. She's not showing all of her cards, okay? A lot of her thing is vote for me, and then I'll fix everything. I don't know about you guys. I don't trust a politician who tells me vote for something, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Vote for me, but I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. It's like, dude, no. I'm not going to do that kind of shit. I'm sorry. So that was an overview of her campaign or her policy issue or her policy practices or what she's going to do. I don't know. My final thought on that is I'm trying to remain unbiased. I'm not voting for her, okay? I'm just trying to inform the people of what you need to know and what you should look at before you go and vote in November. You have to do your research. I know that's a right-wing ideology now, all of a sudden, is doing your own research and being a free thinker makes you a right-wing nut, whatever. Nothing is wrong with doing your own research. Nothing is wrong with listening to a podcast that tells you, that outlines it for you. You are able to do that. It has nothing to do with you being a conspiracy theorist, a conservative, a liberal. It has nothing to do with any of that. You just want to know the information. Why would you not want to know? You don't want to go into this blindly. That is the worst strategy of all time. Let's go into this one blindly. Let's just trust the government. I believe it was Ronald Reagan that said that. If the government ever tells you, we're here to help, we're the government and we're here to help you, that's not a good thing. And I believe Kamala Harris said that back in 2022 or 2021. She said, we're here to help. No, you're not. If government ever tells me they're here to help me, fuck you. Pardon my language, but no thanks. But the next episode, I don't know if I'm going to do it tomorrow or when, but we're going to get into Trump's policies and what he's planning on doing. And we'll compare and contrast both of them. We'll see which one's better, which one you think is... I want to kind of give you guys an overview. You can listen to this episode and talk about it. You can really think about it, but you can look online, congress.gov. You can look it up. Any headline will tell you what her policies are. Any headline will tell you what Trump's policies are. But you have to get different opinions. You have to be able to look at it. Is it subjectively? Is that the word? But yeah. Again, I've ranted on for about 40 minutes now. So I hope you guys got information from this. Let me know what you think in the comments. Appreciate you guys. Be safe. And... take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye.